Hello and welcome back to the back nine of the Alutaguse Open 2025 Baltic Disc Golf Championship presented by Innova Champion Discs. My name is Jussi Valdsalu, and with me here commenting the back nine as well is Chris. Hi Chris.
Hello, and thank you for having me back here. Excellent to be playing and able to commentate on the rounds the MPO is playing here. Had a eventful front nine with some roller coaster type scorecards, ups and downs, birdies and bogeys. Hoping we can see some more green numbers on this back nine, which is very attackable. Still have to manage through this tough wind condition that we have today.
It's minus 12 after the first nine for Mauri Mathias, minus 5. Minus 2 for Kaspar here, and the fourth guy on our lead card is Sten Tammik, who is currently on a score of minus 3 after the first 9.
And going into hole 10 here, which is a little bit of a shift. We've got a couple of shorter holes coming up. We've got some of the longest holes on the course. Little technicality here, but we're starting off with our triple Mando wall. Nice approachable 88 meter shot. It just really takes a good trust in the disc selection and in your throwing swing to know that you're going to hit that small gap. Just really trying to get up there in the circle, capture a birdie, get your back nine off to a good start.
I was doing the same course yesterday and I didn't get a bird. I didn't get through the gate, but I did get a birdie. I had a Annie putt shot from the right side of the gate and thankfully went in. So not the best, not the easiest birdie, but a birdie is a birdie.
Birdies are great, and Sten's going to love his birdie.
Yeah.
Throwing through the gap and just kissing off of the pole.
And that is an unlucky punch from the wall there. Rolled back into the OB for Kaspar.
Yeah, came off the wall with a little spin and landed on edge and ended up pushing forward past the Mando line. Mauri taking his very overstable approach, trying to throw that hyzer line and drop it in, but it looks like it kind of got smashed down by the wind, and instead of panning left, it just dropped down to the ground. Saw it skip underneath the banner there, and unfortunately that is a miss of the mandatory.
Yeah, and Mathias here going fairly straight in, but pressure from the wind as well pushes it down and does not get far enough, so it is going to be a far putt for him.
Yeah, out there close to 20 meters or so. It looks like he was playing a pretty conservative shot selection. Not necessarily trying to park it under the basket, but more so just make the Mando. But then the wind did end up just kind of knocking that disc down. Still fine to have a good look at a long birdie putt and walk away with a par either way. Better than missing the mandatory and having a penalty. This drop zone is a very makeable putt. I think we're sitting right around 15 meters or so for that putt. However, with the wind blowing like that, that is not a comfortable distance by any stretch.
Yeah, you can really hear the wind here. It is strong. It is strong. The flag is basically standing up on its own. So
yeah, we're very exposed. This is one of the highest points on the course. We're up at the top of this little hillside. Yeah. So it's pushing up from both directions and can be very tricky wind to navigate.
Hole number 11, par 305 meters, slightly up the hill from the tee pad and straight down the hill after about 70 meters or so. You got a lot of trees, not too tightly next to each other after the slope going downhill, so you might get an unfortunate kick, but you do have a chance of skipping all those trees and getting next to the basket, as we saw yesterday. Ideally, either you want to go a bit of a backhand turnover slightly, or a hyzer flex, or a sidearm, which I tried yesterday and worked out perfectly for me. Sten goes a countable little throw here from his trusty driver, and that is one of the perfect shots I've seen actually on this one.
Yeah, that's great. That was pushing the right side of the gap. I think maybe further right than he was trying to go. The route that the drone flew on the flyover, I think, is what most people are trying to go to. But yeah, Sten's pushed the right side and faded right back towards the basket. Matthias gets through nice and clean there. These guys are happy to have a putt. Both looking at that elevated basket up above them with the wind pushing in their face, so that's going to be a tough putt, but they're happy to be down there. And this looks like a really nice line here.
Yeah.
Pushing flat through the gap with a tiny little bit of turnover. Unlucky to hit the very last tree, because that was about as perfect of a line as you can hit on this hole. Mauri getting the advantage of having 3 wind reads right before he threw. Excellent flat angle, just lifts as soon as he gets over that crest of the hill. And did that stay up in a tree?
I didn't even see if it dropped or not yet.
Yeah, it looked like it did drop down right there, but yeah, surprising to see that disc lift so much. It looked like he had a perfect flat release on that shot. Nice low line. I think that's one of the most critical components in playing on a windy day, is keeping the disc low to the ground. Kept it under good control there to get up close to the basket. And even a shot like that, can't take for granted. Have to stay focused, get the angle just right, and let the disc settle right next to the basket. If you let the disc fade out a little bit, the wind gets under it, it can make that next putt a little more uncomfortable.
Strong throw here from Matthias over the basket, and into the flag from Sten.
Uphill putt with a headwind.
Yeah, you need to be really careful how you do it, but a uphill putt from Kaspar, done.
Yeah, excellent cleanup after the approach shot drifted a little further away from the basket. And a nice putt from Matthias as well. No matter how many years I've been playing disc golf, a putt from 6 meters out with a wind in my face and an elevated basket, I'm calling those good putts, even for the best players in the world.
Yeah. Hole number 12. Yesterday we saw Mauri here almost acing it. It was very close as well. Ideally want to go turnover over the first tree, over the apple tree here, and straight onto the basket and onto the green, if you have the strength to do that. Or you can go hyzer line from the right side between those 2 trees, but you do need to be careful of the right tree there, as it is possible to get an unfortunate catch from that one.
Yeah, and the direction the wind's blowing may end up making the decision on which of those 2 routes these guys choose. As we can see, the wind pushing very hard from the player's right to the left might make that hyzer line a little more appealing than on a calm day. So we're going to see, you can get the disc up high and the wind will help push it further to the basket.
Yeah. It does affect very, very much here.
Yeah, excellent shot there. He's got a tailwind putt shooting up the hill. No risk of any danger beyond that, so I bet he's quite happy with that position. Kaspar also lining up the hyzer line.
Oh, does it didn't get enough to the sky there, and did get affected by the wind a little bit, so he pushed it down into the tree. Not what you want to have on this one, not at all what you want to have on this one. And let's see what Mauri does. Will he go as well over the tree? Yes, with a hyzer line over the tree, and
it's got some good height to work towards the basket.
Straight into the ground, no skipping, no nothing.
Yeah, we did have a pretty strong rainstorm earlier in the day, just enough to soften this ground up a little bit, and leads to a nice little tombstone with the disc instead of letting it skip away.
Yeah, a little bit over the circle here for Kaspar now. And yeah, you can see how massive it is, the backwind right now for you. So let's see how does it affect his putt.
He's going to want to get this high with his pitch putt style. We'll see if he sticks with it or if he tries to spin it a little harder. But can very easily get knocked down by this wind, so he's going to want to aim for that top band. Looks like it did just get slammed down. It can be tough. You know the correction you need to make to adjust for the wind.
Ooh.
Excellent putt. Outside the circle, into a stiff headwind. That's an excellent putt from Kaspar.
That is not as easy as it seems. Win from the side here for Sten and manages to use it for his advantage. Get the disc onto the right side, affected by the wind, drop it into the basket, get a lovely birdie. And let's see how Mauri here manages to get either his birdie or if it's going to be affected and going for a par. And it's going to be a birdie as well for Mauri.
Yeah, some great putting from the card on this hole. None of those were easy putts. What I noticed there is just some good tight spin of the putter, especially Sten's putt, where it barely flicked the wrist, but the tight spin kept the disc online the whole way. Well done.
The Chalker from Innova, your 2-in-1 chalk bag and mini marker. It's a chalk clay hybrid sports sack and a PDGA legal mini. The Chalker.
Hole 13, 100 meters down the hill into the island. Two options to do, actually three to be honest in my opinion. Either straight down, straight shot as possible, hyzer line over the right side trees, or you can go Annie with a sidearm, which I tried yesterday. I managed to get it into the, I think it was about 4 meters from the basket. So a lot of options to use here, but you do need to be understanding on how the wind is going to affect you, because it is different on the top there than it is on the bottom. And a nice throw here done from Sten. That is going to be a comfortable birdie for him for sure.
That was a near ace alert on that hole. That looked very good. Comfortable little turnover shot with an understable disc.
And this is...
Mauri made a good correction on his line, but looks like he threw it just a little bit low. But that was a good powered shot. Might have just been a hair lower than he wanted. Couldn't quite get any skip forward.
Yeah.
Yesterday we did see a couple of high kind of spike hyzer approaches on this hole, but I think with the wind factor, everybody's content just keeping the disc low under the tree line so the wind doesn't push it around.
Also perfect shot from Mathias here, and Kaspar's going with a bit of a flex here, but does get affected too much. Though falls back into the safe side of the OB, onto the island, and thankfully no OBs, no drop zone throws from our lead card here. Far putt for Mauri, but I managed to get it in nicely for his birdie. Let's see if it's going to be a star frame.
And he likes it. He's showing a little bit of emotion after maybe somewhat sarcastic, just feeling very happy that his putting stroke is returned back to its normal form, and he's drilling some long putts. Another good one from Kaspar there as well. Another
birdie, and Mathias and Sten will definitely take a birdie. There's no chance that they're going to miss it from that distance of the basket. So we got ourselves 4 birdies.
Yeah, nice little star frame here. Nice little bullseye putt. And this is a hole, everybody's wanting to get right away, but nice that everybody's able to come in there, get that star frame onto the card.
That's what you need after a hole like the last one was, when you got affected too much of the wind. So you need a bit of a happiness. Hole number 14. Well, I do need to give a shout out here on hole number 14 to Chris Robinsiri, because he managed to get an ace on this one. As I understood, it was skipped from the rocks here into the basket. So job well done, man. That is a wonderful ace if you ever get one. Sadly, I haven't gotten any aces right now, so if that will happen at one point on that hole, I'll buy myself a TV, man, or I'll buy myself a box of cookies and eat it in 20 seconds.
And an ice cream from your co-commentator. Yeah, this is not an easy hole to really attack for birdie, let alone try to get an ace on.
Yeah.
But we do see pretty consistent plays here. Everybody's just going with a nice backhand, slight hyzer release, trying to control the wind and how much it's going to push your disc around. Really trying to get the distance dialed in just right and let the disc fade in at the right time so the OB does not become a factor. Up inside that rock circle is outstanding. Mauri's going to be very happy with his birdie opportunity from there. And once again, it looks like we've got some pretty calm wind conditions considering what we've seen earlier today. Pretty good timing to do it out on this open hole that need a lot of power and control to get a birdie look on.
Yeah. So decent throws from everyone. Let's see what Kaspar's going to do. Hopefully the same as everyone else and onto the circle edge, or at least in or into the circle. Quite strong throw from him, and that is inside the circle.
Yeah, everybody on the card getting a look. Looks like Sten's going to be the furthest out here from just outside the rock circle.
Yeah.
Kind of at the lowest spot of the green, too, so he's got the most elevation to climb on his putt.
But a lovely putt done. A beautiful birdie. From this distance, getting a birdie still, especially if you need to go back up the hill a little bit of elevation, that is beautiful.
Yeah, he had some great tempo on that putting stroke. I've noticed that the last couple, just really controlled, good pop of the disc out of the hand. Unfortunately, Mathias comes up just a hair short on his putt attempt.
Mauri here goes a bit too much from the upper rim, gets affected by the wind, I think, as well in the ending stage of the putt. So unfortunately done by him, and bottom of the basket for Kaspar. So I think Sten is the only one who comes out from here with a birdie, and pars for everyone else. Let's see how Kaspar does his putt. And a par for him as well. After those drives, not the best result. I think they all wanted to get a birdie, but it is what it is sometimes.
Sten ends up big putting the card furthest away, cashing the only birdie out of the group.
Hole 15, par 4, 222 meters. You have thin guardian trees off the tee pad, a hazard on the course as well from the rocks here to the banners, and a decent slope to the right side of the basket, so you need to be careful on where you land with the disc. You do not want to go and get a roller and fall down into the OB, and you do want to get over the hazard nicely. So yesterday Alain Marco got over the hazard line with a skip under the banners, so that is also a possibility. Sten goes over the trees here straight on to the fairway, so that is a good throw.
Yeah, I saw that get knocked around by the wind quite a bit. That looked like it had some more room to glide and carry. Unfortunately got knocked down, but he's in a great spot. He just has a little more distance to cover on the second. And really, drive distance can make or break you on this hole. If you can get out there and put yourself into that comfortable zone for the second shot, take a little pressure off. That tee pad is what I'm personally looking at as my landing zone, going this wider hyzer line. If you can be there, not only do you have a good consistent read on the distance required left to get to the green, but it's a comfortable spot. If you can, if you're short of that tee pad, it does put you into where you're kind of having to throw distance driver or kind of fast fairway driver into the green. Makes it a little harder to control the landing. So very critical to get this drive out there, not only to the open, but as far towards the rock line as possible. But fortunately, everybody's in a good spot. Nobody's having to fight through some trees, so we're going to see some aggressive runs at the green on everybody's second shot.
This goes over the hazard area here, falling onto the edge of the basket onto the slope. Comfortably done by him. Sten here does a similar line. Gonna use the wind for his advantage, and it did not come back into the playing area.
Yeah, he was intentionally choosing that wide line, but it looks like the wind pushing left to right just kept the disc from working back to the green.
Beautiful shot done by Mauri here. Should be comfortable putt for him. Might be a little bit up the hill, but should be doable. And also to the right side, using the wind for his advantage for Kaspar. Ooh, that was close.
Beautiful, beautiful. Kept the disc nice and low, high enough to clear over the little wall there, and still had the speed control to drop it right by the green. Fortunately, the grass being long enough here, you don't have to worry too much about getting crazy skips, but the potential for roll is still there.
Yeah, so you do need to be careful on that part.
Mathias looks like a straight headwind putt up the hill. We've seen a few of those during his round today. Looks like the disc is on line, just couldn't quite stay up high enough to get to the chains. And you can see it getting Mathias a little bit frustrated, feeling like he's doing his job well, but just not getting the results.
Birdie here for Kaspar and a birdie as well for Mauri. Taking a par for Mathias and sadly a bogey for Sten here.
Which takes us into hole 16, this par 5. For me, it's one of the most fun holes to play on the course. Requires a good landing zone with your drive. You're looking at this road, the little dirt patch there. We saw some plays to where players were trying to play just down to the low spot of the road and then be able to navigate up the hill from there. Very possible to throw the drive to get to the top. It's just really about staying in the middle so that you have a good lane to get up through this kind of treacherous fairway. We see this green, which is precariously perched on this little patch of dirt that's flat and then falls on any side of that. So this can be very tricky if you're not in the middle of the fairway. Takes a couple of well-placed shots.
And this is, I think this is quite the most perfect from Mauri here. Probably would have wanted to be a little bit more towards the basket, but is a good spot to where to continue for your next shot. Kaspar here did try to go turn over and get it onto the suitable area, but managed to aim for the other group there.
Yeah, it's a tricky shot to play for the power backhand with. Again, I know we're talking about the wind factor a lot here, but it does make all the difference on this course. And trying to navigate and get the angle of the disc just right, because it does take a late turnover in the flight. Otherwise, you're contending with the tree line on the right side. So it takes a lot of trust to draw the disc over to the right there, which is why I think we're seeing some of these sidearm plays being played, keeping the disc low and just trying to play to the opening. And yeah, they've still got to kind of navigate through that first bit of the gap and get their way up there, but no damage done. And we're seeing effective use of the rule being played here, where after the out of bounds, Kaspar is choosing to move back on the line of play to open up the line a little bit better, which you're always allowed to do after a penalty. Moving back to open up a little more space, and you can see how that makes all the difference on playing into that gap for him.
Yeah, it is a good rule to use when you have the chance, when you need to have the chance. Hopefully you don't, but when you need to have the chance, make use of what you can.
And to clarify, with that rule, the line of play always goes to the basket. The shape of this hole did kind of look like a strange angle he was going back at, but once you get up this road, the basket is off to the left side. So his line of play, I'm sure he checked with the group to make sure he was on the correct line and opened it up from there.
Kick for Mauri here from the tree, and Sten here going through one of the trees over there, and disc falls probably to the location we were just seeing. Yeah,
he's going to be up on the left side, kind of playing from the side of the hill, and we'll probably have a few more trees in his way, but there's quite a few openings over there. He's definitely not blocked off or in jail or anything.
Yeah.
He's still going to have to get a little creative. He might be able to play up to the high side and then swing back over. That's what kind of makes a hole like this so fun. A long wooded par 5. There is no one route to get to the basket. Creativity comes into play a lot. That was a nice little standstill. Right foot down below. Still getting the disc to turn over. Good control of the disc there. There's Mathias opening up a little line on the high side of the hill. That was a nice creative play. Good vision of the fairway ahead of him.
Not a comfortable look here for Sten, so let's see what he's going to do. Probably going to go sidearm as well, over from the left side, fall back to the right and get as close to the basket as possible. That seems to be the best option. And yanks it a little bit too hard.
Finds himself off the back side of the green there.
Yeah.
That drop off if you go a little bit long.
Thankfully, that's not an OB.
Not OB.
But just really, really uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely has a high up the hill putt to contend with from there. Mauri's off to the right side of the fairway. Making the aggressive play to the green, but does find that little invisible gap. Even from where he was up high on the hill, you can't really see that. You know it's there as the player, but it looks like the basket's right ahead of you. And that's a great putt from the other side of the gap there.
That's a beautiful par save from that OB. So
yeah, I don't think we have a circle painted there, but it looked like he was outside the circle about 12, 13 meters or so.
Yeah. So unlucky shot here for Mathias. And you can see how deep of an edge it is for Sten here. He can't even properly see the basket and hits the top of it. So
he could hear it though.
Yeah. So there was a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good bid from down there.
Yeah.
Okay, Mauri just high enough up on the path. He was looking at the basket. Nothing, no damage done there. Mathias stakes his bogey, which on a par 5, you look at par 4s and par 5s as scoring opportunities for the most part. You have a couple of chances to make the good shot to get to the birdie, but bogey can be tough, but on a wooded hole it's very understandable.
118 meters, hole number 17, par 3. You have an OB line on the right here, an OB line on the left from the direct line from the lampposts. Either you want to go over the field here, over the right OB line and get it under the basket, or a sidearm from the left side where there's a bit of a more opening from the tee pad, because you do have trees on the backhand line blocking you. Front sidearm line if you're left-handed.
Yeah, I saw the same play from Mauri yesterday, playing that forehand out over OB the whole way.
And that is in, I
Very
think.
close either way, but
Yeah.
looks like...
Oh, OB
looks
still.
like it's
Yeah.
just out. That was so close, and
Looks
yeah, we'll
unlucky.
see where the card marks where he was last in bounds. That's a tough call to make from the tee pad.
Yeah.
And lining up the backhand throw here, which is a very precise gap to hit, and it can be a little intimidating because if you hit one of those first trees off the tee, it's gonna really make this a tough hole for you. So really need to trust popping it through that gap and knowing the disc has got a lot of room to carry after that. This hole has been a nemesis to many players, myself included in this tournament.
And similar throw from Sten here. Sadly didn't come back into the playing area, stayed outside in the OB line. So 2 OBs, and today Mathias managed to get it past the tree. Yesterday he hit that tree, and today it is
nearly drops it in the bucket.
That is a beautiful shot done by Mathias here.
Yeah, I'm sure he held his breath while his disc was flying towards that tree. Very happy to see it pass just off to the side of it and get out there to the near ace run.
And from OB to OB here for Sten. The wind here does affect a lot. Got pushed to the OB line to the right side. Kaspar here going over the OB line, but does get onto the edge of circle.
Nice controlled
into the
distance there. Looks like everybody's looking for these discs to see where they would have gone. We saw Sten play his drive from much further back the fairway. Now, he and Mauri both played that same sidearm shot. Card kind of making a decision here on if it's in or out, and once determined out of bounds, it looks like they're going to give him a mark from back there, which looks accurate for the line he was on. He was a little more of a driven straight line shot. Angles can be everything there. Like I said, from the tee pad, it's so difficult to make a judgment on where it would have gone out of bounds.
And it would have been a par save almost, but
yeah, very good run from there.
Hits under the basket. Double bogey for Sten here. An unlucky OB and OB for him. But a lovely par done here by Kaspar, and Mathias will take a birdie from hole number 17. And a bogey for Mauri.
Which kills a little bit of the momentum he had during his round. He had a good stretch of birdies there. Tough bogey on 17. Going into hole 18, though, with the chance to not only take in this gorgeous scenery, but attack for one final birdie of the round. Good long par 4, which is very reachable from the tee pad for the kind of power we're seeing out of these guys on the lead card. Can play it for an eagle bid. It's a bit of a calculated risk on if you want to go for this or not. There's options on to bail out early and play to the fairway with a nice controlled sidearm. I think we're going to be able to see some good attacking drives here. Chance for eagle, but with the wind blowing right now, this is a hard shot to commit to either way.
Yeah, it is. I've been playing this hole as well with the wind like this, and it is not comfortable at all. You do need to make sure that you really know how your disc is flying in that kind of wind, and know how to control it. Mathias here goes quite directly, holding the right-hand side edge of the hole, and keeps it nicely inbound.
Yeah, good angle control, keeping the disc low from this high elevated tee pad. Driving the disc down towards the ground can help control it.
Kaspar here gets a skip over the asphalt, and it should still be in bounds.
Yep, so everybody is taking the more calculated, kind of smart golf shot, playing for this big opening here, not trying to push too far to the basket. Being a shorter par 4, it's nice to just know, put it in bounds, and I can still take a pretty straightforward birdie from there. No need to press here. Save that for the final day when you're down by a stroke or something like that.
Sten here goes with the hyzer line, gets it straight, but still gets really affected by the wind, and it's... Yeah, that is OB.
I think he might have wrapped just on the backside of the road. No,
yeah, it's
there
still
he goes.
OB. On straight onto the asphalt. So that is where you do not want to be. The shot was strong, though. It was released really strong. But sadly, the effects of the wind do...
Yep, straight to the drop zone.
Straight to the drop zone. And that's a unlucky cut there. A bit too low. Probably maybe wanted to use the asphalt for his advantage, get a bit of a skip. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it's not an easy shot from the drop zone. I'm sure Sten's going to be a little disappointed with that shot there. Again, trying to keep it low so the wind doesn't push it too much, but yep, Mathias, nice little chip up. He's got himself a good 6-meter putt for birdie to close it out.
A beautiful approach done by it was Kaspar now, right? Yeah. by Sten. Oh, luckily gets a kick from the tree. I think it would have been an OB possibility if that tree would not have been there. And
I'm sure he's happy to take that result every single time.
And Mauri gets a little skip over Sten's disc, from Sten's disc as well, but close to the few meters line. Is it 5 meter line from the basket there. And that is a beautiful birdie here for Mathias, bringing his round to a total of -7 at this point after the second day.
Yeah, good finish, closing out birdie on the last 2 holes after a somewhat frustrating round, I'm sure, taking some bogeys earlier in the round.
Yeah.
But good way to close it out. And
unlucky bogey here for Sten.
Kaspar with a short little bullseye's edge putt for his birdie here as well. So we see 3 birdies on the card. Some smart calculated golf. And in a tough day, conditions were not great for scoring. We saw Mauri fighting hard, tooth and nail throughout the whole round to get himself to a 3 under for the round. Everybody else on the card ending up a little over par. We've got a +1 for Mathias, +2 for Kaspar, and +1 for Sten. Look at our leaderboard. This is going to be
the leaderboard coming into the last day. Mauri with a -15, Steven -9, Rasmus Metsama and Mathias Villota on -7. Thank you everyone for watching us. Thank you for joining us on the second day. Thanks, Chris.
My pleasure. Can't wait to see how it all shakes up in the final round.
Join us tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.